Hello Stampers, Kate with Kate's Creations, here to share with you another fun card using Stampin' Up! Products. And this one's combining just a little bit of new with some that has been carried over. So today's card is this. And for today's card, I am using the watercolor pencils. And I have both set 1 and set 2, and I do not know which colors go in which set, so I'm not able to help you with that part of it. But then I am primarily using the Jar of Flowers, which is a returning set, and the punch that goes with it, the jar punch. And this is one of the new products, Deckled Rectangle Dies. I'm going to be using that today. That's in the new catalog on page 170, $30 for the set, and you get quite a few rectangles. Kind of fun. And then I'm also using the Go-To Greetings, which you're going to see a lot of because these are all very familiar phrases that I use a lot of. Happy birthday, just a note, and hello and thinking of you are the 4 main greetings I use on my cards to sell, so, and to give. So this set is going to be getting used a lot. You're going to see a lot of it. I'm also going to be using a returning punch. This is called Label Me Fancy. Something I did is I got me a label maker and I put the names of my punches on the end of all of my punches so I can look over into my punch stack over there and see what's what. So I'm going to be using that as well. So let's get started. I made the base for this card with Whisper White Thick. I'm trying to get it up here. Cut 4.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 to make a standard A2 greeting card. We'll burnish that fold with a bone folder. Then I cut a piece of designer series paper, affectionately labeled DSP. In case you didn't know, when I say DSP, that's what I mean, designer series paper. And this is cut the full size of the front of the card, and it is called Texture Chic, C-H-I-C. And so that's going to go on the front with Stampin' Seal. And so we'll get that up here. And it's going to cover the whole front, no borders on this card. Sometimes I like white borders, and sometimes I don't. And this is one of those times. So there we go. Oh boy, it matched up perfect. Every once in a while, that happens. Okay, the next layer that's going to go on flat is the basic white regular. And it's the piece that is cut with the deckled rectangles. And to get that out of this, it needs to be at least 3.5 by 5 so that it will fit to cut out. And it's going to go on the front as well with Stampin' Seal. And it is just centered on there. So just do your best to center it. And that'll be okay, just like that. Okay, we'll set this over here. Then, here's what I did. For the flowers, they're in the sunflowers from this stamp set. You need 2 of them, and you have to hand cut them out. And I stamped them with Memento Black ink, but I didn't want the borders to be super dark black. So I inked my stamp, then I stamped it off, and then I stamped it a second time. And so it gives me a softer black, but it's still plenty there to tell where the borders are for coloring and stuff. I did the same thing with the jar. I used the new Tahitian Tide Blue that I have there. I stamped it first, inked it, stamped it off, stamped it again to get this softer blue. And the same thing with the stems. I stamped it with the Memento Black and then stamped it onto the jar. So I have a softer black there as well. And yeah, I just stamped it right on top. Now this one like I said, the jars is stamped with the Tahitian Tide, and it's a 2nd generation stamping. So stamp it once, stamp it again. Then I did the stems with the Memento, and I colored them with the colored pencils, which is I told you about, and this one is Granny Apple Green. So that's what I colored the stems with here. Okay. Then this can go ahead and be placed on the card, and it's going to go on with dimensionals. So we'll put a couple of dimensionals there. So we got our dimensionals on there, and it's going to go pretty close to the bottom because those flowers are pretty tall and centered from right to left. Okay, so there's that on there. Oh, I always forget this. I need a piece of twine, and I forgot to get it, so here I go. We'll go over there and get it. And I forgot again to put it on the card first before I put those things down. So I'm going to try and, I think I put them far enough down. Yeah, I did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. This is the, I forget the name of it, linen thread. And it's going to go on here, and I'm just going to tie it in a bow on here. And I don't have to worry about being big to start with, because then I can adjust it however I need to get it to sit nicely. It doesn't need to be too big, and I'd rather have too much string than not enough, so I probably cut it too long, but that's the way it goes. Got to be sure and put that linen thread on my list when I'm doing my blog. There we go. Okay, now that can be set aside. So then I stamped the flowers. Like I said, I stamped them twice, and I've colored one of them already, and I used Daffodil Delight on the flowers, and I'm going to just bring my colored pencil in here, make sure I've got the right one. Yep. And we'll finish coloring these in. I did part of the coloring and part of the cutting, so you wouldn't have to endure all of that, seeing how I don't know how to do the fast forward thing that I see so many people doing. It's wonderful that they can do that, but I'm not that clever, and I don't know if I really want to put that much energy into figuring out how to do it. So so anyway, I need an assistant. That's what I need. And so you can see I just go for it. You don't have to. I just kind of work it in there. One thing that I want to tell you is that if you want to soften the look of your colored pencils, you can do so by using a blender pen, one of these, and you can bring it in, and when you do, you can just run it over, and the liquid in there just softens the look and just takes away any streaks or lines that you may have created using the pencil. So you can do that if you feel the need to. I don't know if you can see the difference, but it's pretty cool what you can do with the blender pen and colored pencils. You can also use it to make things lighter or darker and add some accents and things. So I just wanted to show you that. So that was the flowers, was the daffodil. Then I used garden green on this fern and these leaves. So I'm going to do these leaves with that as well. Oh, there's a piece I missed there, a piece of a flower. We'll get that. And again, I'm not, you know, if you go outside the lines a little bit, it's not like super critical. Now, after I have colored the flowers, in between the flowers are some gaps, and I'm going to color those with this green pen as well. Just those little spots in there. Over here's one. There's one there. We'll go ahead and color that in. And it just kind of fills those gaps. Okay. So that's the garden green. Then I brought in olive, old olive, for this part of the thing. I don't know what this was supposed to be, but it didn't look like flowers from the, like a sunflower, so I decided not to make it a flower. I decided to make it leaves, and I'm going to color that in with this old olive. Now, if you press lightly with your pencils, you're going to get a nice light, soft color like this, and then if you press harder, you're going to get a darker color. And I'm pressing a little bit harder here. So we'll get these colored in like that. And then I used, on the flowers that are already colored, I used Flirty Flamingo. And on the centers of the flowers, I'm using Cajun Craze first. And I'm coloring the whole thing like that. And then I came back with Early Espresso and colored over it just a little bit. And it kind of gave it that double brownish, orangish look that I was looking for. So there's the colors I used. And then I just cut it out, leaving that little white edge all the way around. I would not try to fine cut this because there's just too many angles. You'd never be able to get them all. So leaving the edge like you would if you had a die cutting it out is probably much better choice, just so you know. And we'll finish that up, and I just saved a piece of it so you could watch. I'm pretty quick on the cutting. Just doesn't take that long, and it is a nice look when it's done. Let's go in just a little bit there and around. Okay, and that finishes that up. Now I'm going to attach these to each other, and we're going to overlap one over the other. And so I'm going to, let's see. I think I'm going to go like this, and I want some of that. And I want this to stand out. Okay, so I'm going to put them like this. So I'm going to dimensional this one above this one. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on this side. Yeah. Doesn't need a lot because there'll be more coming later. Put those off. And so then just trying to kind of, I think about like that's going to look just fine. Then I'm going to also put this on with dimensionals. And because, get a hold of it, because this one is going to sit higher than this one's going to need double dimensionals. Does that make sense? Because the other side's only going to get a single, but it's already been stepped up once already. So down here, you need this to be double to support it. And I'm using up little bits here. And then over here, you just need regular singles. That'll go on to the stuff sticking to me. I think I'll put one more on right here. Okay. And then I think I'm going to put it on so it goes this way. And I'm going to bring it down so it just barely covers the top of the jar and matches up with the stems, so there's not a gap between the stem and the flower. And press it into place. And there is that. Then I got this greeting, thinking of you, from the Go-To Greetings. I'm going to just stamp it. This card was cased from page 95 of the Stampin' Up! Current Stampin' Up! Catalog, the 22-23 annual catalog. and I did some things different, but it's basically the same. I noticed I forgot to color something. Oh well, we'll fix that in a minute. But I'm going to just stamp Thinking of You with black, tuxedo black Memento. This is that punch. I didn't like it this fat, so I am going to cut off those edges, top and bottom. Just snip them off, and that makes it narrower, and I like it better narrower. And then it's going to go on with dimensionals as well, so I need a couple more little dimensionals. And I'm careful to let that dry. Sometimes it seems like I hurry that ink and it smears, and that's so frustrating when that happens. Okay, and then I'm just going to attach this, and again, this is elevated already with a dimensional, and so this side only needs one, but this side needs two because it won't lay nicely if you don't. And so, let's see, let's raise it up just a little bit. Get that out from under, and there we go. And there's today's card using those fun things. Hope you enjoyed the card. Hope you consider subscribing to my blog. I do try to give some little tips and tricks along the way. I've been stamping for over 25 years, so I've learned a few things along the way, and hopefully I'm sharing those and you're learning things from me as well. I also want to put in a little plug for my Mountain Valley Designs, where I'm using the Glowforge laser cutter that my son gave me for Christmas. This is the most recent project that I did. It's called a fall leaf lantern, and so it's got two different patterns on each side, so it's got two of each, these leaves and these leaves. Sits there like this with that on the top, and you get a flameless candle, and it sits up inside and lights it up. So hope you enjoyed that as well. If you're interested in knowing more about my designs, I am on Facebook page under my name, Kate Creasy, and also under Mountain Valley Designs. Thanks for stopping by.